guys, OGQ774 here today, and yeah, today I will be showing you all of the PLLs for the 3x3. Let's get started, and yes, I know full PLL. First up, we have the H permutation. For the H permutation, you hold it any way you want with the color on top, with the 4 edge pieces facing you, and you do M2 prime, U, M2 prime, U2, M2 prime, U, M2 prime, and that'll solve it. Next up, we have the Z permutation. This is where the edge pieces need to cycle like this way, this way. Again, hold it any way you want, except with this green, except with the edge that was put in here. So just make sure that between these two colors, the color that's over here has to be here. So I know it sounds weird, but just do this. M2 prime, U prime, M2 prime, U prime, M prime, U2 prime, M2 prime, U2 prime, M prime. Next up, we have the UA permutation, where you have the color in the back, and then these 3 edge pieces need to rotate like this. So you hold the edge piece, so you need to hold the solid color in the back when the edge pieces need to rotate like this, and this for the UA permutation, and you do R, U prime, R, U, R, U, R, U prime, R, U prime, R2. Next up, we have the UB permutation, where there is a color in the back, but instead the edge pieces need to rotate clockwise. Again, you hold the color in the back, but you do R2, U, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U, R prime. Next up, we have the JA permutation. This is where you have to solve color in the back, and these 2 corner pieces are switched, but this bar here needs to go over here. So this bar here of color will be facing this way, and it has to go here. So what you do is you hold it in the back, and you do R prime, U, L prime, U, R, U, R prime. Wait, no, scratch that. I'm going to do that over. Okay, I'm super sorry about that, guys. The JA perm again. This color here needs to go here. Hold it in the back. R prime, U, L prime, U2, R, U prime, R prime, U2, R, L prime, U prime. Sorry about that. So the thing is, guys, I know all of them. It's just, they're muscle memory by now, so I can't really do them as slow as I would want to. Next up, we have the JB permutation, where you have the color in the back, but this time, the bar of color needs to go to here. So you hold it like this with the color on the left side, and you do R, U, R prime, F prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R, 2, U prime, R prime, U prime. Next up, we have the T permutation. Now, how to recognize this one is pretty easy, where there's a line here because these 2 edge pieces are in the opposite places, which makes a line, and then these 2 corners need to be switched, and if you look closely, it makes like a T shape. So you hold it like this, with the line here and then the T here, so it's not going to be in the right place, so you have to hold the opposite pieces like this, with the first corner facing you like this, and you do R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R2, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime. Next up is the RA permutation. Now this one is where, again, these 2 are switched here, these 2 corners, but instead of this, these 2 edges are switched. So if you hold it like this, these 2 edges are switched. So you hold it like this, with the two switch edge pieces here and the two corners like this, and you do RU, R prime, F prime, RU2, R prime, U2, R prime, F, RU, RU2, R prime, U prime, and that's the RA perm. Next up is the RB permutation. Again, the two corners are switched, and these two pieces are, instead of it like this now, where these two are switched, these two are switched. So how you hold it is you hold the let me make sure I remember this. The two solved corners in the back, and it like this. So these two edge pieces will look like this, so they can be switched. And then you do R prime U2, R U2, R prime F, R U, R prime U prime, R prime F prime, R2 U prime, and that's the RB permutation. Now this one's going to be a bit faster because I can't really do this one slow. This is the F permutation. Now how to recognize the F perm? Well, you have a full color in the back, but these two corners are switched and these two edges are switched. So how you hold it is with the two corners here and the solved color on the left. And you do R prime, U prime, F prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, F prime, R. Wait, no, I messed up. I'm super sorry. Okay, I'm super sorry. Okay, if you have to switch these two, and these two corners hold the solved color on the left, and these two will be like this, and these two are switched. This is the F perm. I'm going to go a bit faster. R prime, U prime, F prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R2, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U, R. Now, I'm really sorry I went super fast on that one. It's just, again, I told you, I can't do that one slow for some reason. The F perm, I just can't grasp doing that one slower. Next up, we have the Y permutation. This is where these two corners are together. So these two are all messed up, these two sides here. But this corner here, these two will be connected. So the green and the blue here will be connected to the red and the orange here. And these two edges will need to be switched, and the two corners here will need to be switched, kind of like a Y shape, as you can see. But what you do is you hold it like this with the green one and the blue facing you, I guess, or any color. But we're the one where it connects. And you hold it like this, and you do F, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R, F prime. And that's the Y perm. Next up, we have the V permutation. Now, this one's very similar to the Y perm. It's where, again, these two need to be switched and the two corners need to be switched. But how not to get fooled, remember, these two are not connecting now. Okay? These two corner pieces don't connect in the middle here. So what you do is you hold it like this, where the two corners need to be switched and the two edges that need to be switched are like this. Always where the one is not connecting, so you hold it like this. And you do R prime U, R prime to W prime, R prime F prime, R2 U prime, R prime U, R prime F, R, F prime. And that's the V perm. Okay, this is the NA permutation. Now, how do you recognize this one? Well, it's where these two edges need to be switched and these two corners need to be switched. Now, how do you hold it? You hold it so that where the two corners need to be switched is where the two edges need to be switched like that. And what you do for the NA is you do a Z, a D, R prime, U, R2 prime, no, R2, D prime, R, D, U prime, R prime. I think it was U, R2, D prime, R, U prime, R. Yeah, that's an NA. Next up is the NB. Now this is where these two are switched, and when these two are switched, these two will be opposite. So what you do for the NB perm is Z, U prime, R, D prime, R2 prime, U, R prime, D, U prime, R, D prime, R2 prime, no, R2 prime, U, R prime, D, R prime. Excuse that. Okay, now this is how to do the NB perm. Same thing, where when these two are switched, these two edges, these two corners will be switched. So you hold it like this, and you do, for the NB, Z, U prime, R, D prime, R2 prime, U, R prime, D, U prime, R, D prime, R2 prime, U, R prime, D, R prime. Now that's the NB perm. Next up, we have the E permutation. Now how to recognize this is where you have all the edges together, but all these four corners need to be oriented. Now how do you hold it? You hold it so the piece that matches the edges on both sides is correct, and then you do a X prime, R, U prime, R prime, D, R, U, R prime, D prime, R, U, R prime, D, R, U prime, R prime, D prime, X. This is the A permutation. Now how do you recognize this? Well, you have to have these two in the back, and when you have these two in the back, these two need to go here, and these two need to go here in a cycle. So what you do is you hold the two solved in the back, and then you do X, R prime, U, R prime, D2, R, U prime, R prime, D2, R2, and yeah. Next up is the AB permutation. Now this is where when all of these are solved like this, when all the edges are correct, when the two corner pieces are like this, they will make this shape here where these two need to be rotated, but both edges are correct. You do X, R2, D2, R, U, R prime, D2, R, U prime, R, and then yeah. There's the GA permutation with the headlights. These two need to be switched, and one color is solved. So what you do is you do R2 prime, UW, R prime, U, R prime, U prime, R, UW prime, R2 prime, Y prime, R prime, U, R prime. Next up we have the GB perm, where again we have the two headlights, but this time these two need to be switched like that. And this is solved, but this is all messed up here. And it needs to go this way, so they don't switch exactly across from each other. They have to switch like that, like diagonal. So again, we hold the headlights on the left, and we do R prime, U prime, R, Y, R2 prime, UW, R prime, U, R, U prime, R, UW prime, R2 prime. Next up, we have the GC permutation. Now, this is where you have this solved here, which would be behind the headlights. And these two need to be switched like that. But this time, this is diagonal, but then this needs to be switched with this. So there's one diagonal and one across. You keep the headlights on the left, and you do R2 prime, UW prime, R, U prime, R, U, R prime, UW, R2, FW, R prime, wait no, FW, R prime, FW prime. There we go. That's the GC. Okay, last PLL, the GD. So this is the last PLL, as I already said. So what you do is, what you see is, if you see that when you have these two headlights, it'll be the opposite edge here, but the right edge is next to it. And opposite from it will be almost a solid bar with the opposite color like this. But you hold the headlights on the left, and you do R, U, R prime, Y prime, R2 prime, UW prime, R, U prime, R prime, U, R prime, UW, R2. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And I will leave down in the description, because since I did mess up on some of the PLLs, because again, it's all muscle memory, although I do know full PLL, I will put down in the description how many attempts it took me, and I'm going to put, I got it right on the second, or the third, or the fourth attempt, whenever it is, it's just to let you know. So don't forget to look in the description. Okay? I'll put it in bold just so you can see it, because it's before the video. Anyway, see ya.